Both Jackson State and Alabama State both have had players suspended for at least one game. In some cases, multiple. Let's talk about it specifically. How it affects Jackson State since they have a lot more on the season left. Let's talk about it after the bumper. Stay tuned. What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the Victory Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsYjr. YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your content. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Like, share, subscribe, and notification bell because we upload all the time. Now, as we know, Jackson State and Bama State played this past weekend, and there was a little kerfuffle, a little scuffle between the two squads after the game had went final. Jackson State, of course, won that game 16-10 and punched their ticket to win and host the SWAC Championship game at Veterans Memorial Stadium in Jackson, Mississippi, against the Southern Jaguars. Now, because of that kerfuffle, there have been a number of players suspended from both JSU and ASU. Let's read from the Associated Press. This is via ESPN. Let's read the statement that was put out by the AP. The Southwestern Athletic Conference has issued a one-game suspensions of a total 16 Jackson State and Alabama State players over a post-game altercation. And fined both schools. The league announced that 7 Jackson State players and 9 Alabama State players have been suspended for the next game for the incident after Saturday's game in Montgomery. Both schools will fine $25,000. I think that's the right move. Only one game. Why? Because JSU has a lot to play for as far as a SWAC championship game. You don't want a SWAC championship game to be altered, drastically altered, potentially by the suspension of a number of players. So giving them one game, they'll miss the Alcorn game. That's big enough, right? Like, that's your rival. That's a game that you lost last year. That's a game you're looking to get revenge. That's a game that can help you get into the double-digit wins category. So you want to be there, and those guys are going to miss that game, and rightfully so. 7 of those players will miss it for JSU, so that's enough. But if you would have suspended them multiple games and had them potentially miss a SWAC championship game, or worse than that, potentially miss a Celebration Bowl if you're able to make it that far, I think that would have been a little bit much. But having it only be one game, I like that suspension, because suspensions had to be made by the SWAC, and only having it be one game, I think, was the right call. Let's continue reading. It says Alabama State hosts Prairie View on Saturday while JSU visits Alcorn. Dr. Jason Campbell, Alabama State's vice president and AD, announced that 3 of the players will be suspended for the season-ending game against Tuskegee on Thanksgiving Day as well. The suspended players were not named. I think, some people would agree with that as well. Those 3 players were probably the 3 players that initially started this whole thing. Because when these things happen in football and sports in general, it's always because one person did too much. One person, okay, you doing too much, gang. Like, you doing too much. And that probably was one of these 3 players, or all 3 of these players for Alabama State. JSU got too much on the line to be suspending guys for multiple games or for the rest of the season. I'm just being honest. I mean, I'm thinking like a football coach. I'm thinking like an AD who has multiple championships that could potentially be on the line to be suspending players for multiple games. Bama State don't have that problem, so it makes more sense for them to do that. Players engaging in shoving after the game, and some punches were thrown. Quote, acts of unsportsmanlike conduct have 0 place in the sport of intercollegiate athletics and within the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and we are extremely disappointed to have had consecutive weeks of football competition negatively impacted by these unfortunate occurrences, said SWAC Commissioner Dr. Charles McClellan. Quote, we continue to work with our membership to implement the necessary policies and procedures to deter this type of behavior. We will also continue to enforce a zero tolerance policy for all acts deemed to be unsportsmanlike and contrary to the high standards of good sportsmanship we expect from all individuals associated with the athletics programs within our league. And so, I mean, this makes sense. I mean, this is how it was supposed to be handled. This is how Dr. McClellan is supposed to handle something like this. And I think it's the right move. I think only suspending guys for one game makes sense. I think suspensions had to be made, and yeah, I don't disagree with anything on any front. I think all of the parties involved. Now, Bama State suspending their guys. I want to pull something up. Bama State suspending their guys multiple games. That's because they have nothing to play for. That's because they probably were the aggressors and they have nothing as far as the season championships on the line. JSU does. You have championships on the line, and so therefore I don't want to hurt myself because of a little fisticuffs, because of boys being boys, as some people would say. So I'm not going to hurt myself in a chance to win a SWAC championship and the first ever Celebration Bowl in school history, and only the third ever for the SWAC. Grambling first, FAMU last year, and potentially, JSU or Southern, but JSU this year. Like, no, I'm not gonna hurt myself and deter myself from that because of what's taking place now. Because of all of this, fisticuffs and things that are going on, the Celebration Bowl has actually come out and made a statement on some changing policies that they're having because of a number of altercations that are taking place across college football, specifically HBCU football. We saw, like we said, Bama State that happened multiple weeks in a row. You have Virginia Union, you had Howard and North Carolina Central. So there's been a lot of fisticuffs in a lot of black college football. And Celebration Bowl and Celebration Bowl director John Grant come out and said, "Hey, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that on ABC, on ESPN for the Celebration Bowl." Let's read some of this article put out there by HBCU legends. Shout out to Cal T. Mosley. It says the SWAC suffered another embarrassing post-game brawl. Look, the celebration quickly turned into uncontrollable violence. SWAC East foes, blah, blah, blah. Let me see what the Celebration Bowl. That's what Alabama State had to say. Let's go to, those are fights within the MEAC, and then Sonya Steele, the commissioner of the MEAC. And then let me see if I can find where the Celebration Bowl, John Grant, actually came out and said these things. I guess they don't have it on here. I don't know. I thought there was an article Cal or somebody put out about the Celebration Bowl and not wanting to, not wanting to deal with any of this stuff. And like, hey man, we ain't going down with folks. We're not allowing this to happen on the Celebration Bowl stage. And I'm pretty sure John Grant, let me see if I can find this really quick. 1 second. Okay, so here is what this article comes from. This comes from HBCU Game Day. It says the Celebration Bowl is less than a month away, but a big change is coming to the matchup that will determine the HBCU national champion. The Celebration Bowl executive director John T. Grant told HBCU Game Day that the game is initiating a new post-game rule. The loser of the Celebration Bowl will be forced to head to the locker room, and the opposing coaches will get the chance to shake hands while the winners get to celebrate on the field at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The decision comes after 4 HBCU games have been marred by post-game brawls the past 2 weeks, and 3 in a 24-hour span. Friday, November 15th, Saturday, November 16th, all 4 games. Prairie View versus FAMU last week, North Carolina Central versus Howard on Friday, as well as Bama State versus Jackson State and Virginia State versus Virginia Union were all broadcasted nationally on ESPN or HBCU Go. Quote, "This is something we can't sweep under the rug," Grant told HBCU Game Day. "People are seeing this. ESPN is carrying these games." So yeah, I mean, even the Celebration Bowl's getting in. Hey, we used to let people hang out and chill out on the field as one team won, other team stormed the field or whatever. We ain't doing all that because we ain't having all of these fisticuffs, all of this ruckus going on at the Celebration Bowl on ABC on December 14th. And I hope to see you in Atlanta. I think I'm going to make that trip for the Celebration Bowl, especially if my JSU Tigers are there. I got to make it. If they ain't there, I ain't going. I'm just being honest. I ain't going. But let me know your thoughts. 7 players from JSU suspended, 9 from Bama State. I'm glad it's only 1 game, though, for most of the players, especially for JSU, because they have championships. They're en route to a championship season. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, my name is JeffLightsYJr. This is the Victor Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsYJr, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, wherever you get it. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JLightsy7. That is on Twitter and Instagram at JLightsy7. Do me a favor before you get out of here. Hit that thumbs up button. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time.